Hello and welcome to the Capital OTB Stakes Preview for the weekend of March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Sully Crotty with Mike Callahan. How are you, Mike?
What's going on, Sully? How you doing?
I'm doing great. We're spreading out this week. We got stakes race in Gulfstream Park. It is 7 furlongs. It is the 40th running of the Inside Information. It is a Grade 2 event. Then we go to California. It's a mile and an eighth, race number 9 at Santa Anita, the 81st running of the Santa Margarita, a Grade 1 event. And then we'll go to Oaklawn Park. Oaklawn's 8th race is the 70th running of the SX Handicap, a $300,000 purse going a mile and a 16th. Race number 9 is the Azeri Grade 2, a mile and a 16th on the main track. And race number 10 is the Rebel, a Grade 2 event for $900,000. A mile and a 16th on the main track.
All right, we'll start off in numerical order as we always do. We'll go back to Gulfstream Park in the Grade 2 event. It's the Inside Info. $200,000 purse to go on 7 furlongs. A nice 7-horse field in here. We'll start out number 1, Ivy Bell, going out for Todd Pletcher, Javier Castellano aboard. 5-2 on the morning line. And this horse is going to be first out for Todd, off of 2 back-to-back second-place performances, notably the last one against a nice horse named Miss Locust Point down in Laurel in a nice stakes race down there. Thought that was a really nice effort, coming from 10 lengths off of it to lose a little less than 3 lengths. Buyers-wise fits in here. What do you think of the number 1?
Yeah, I think it's a big play here. I think just a little bit too short of a price here, just because how the horse looked the last 2 starts. I get it, Miss Locust Point's a very nice horse. But Todd's had a phenomenal meeting. You get Javier to ride, so that's just a 1 question mark for me, and a little bit of a layoff's a question mark as well. Again, I think the first time out with Javier, it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride, but definitely a play.
Yeah, 10 for 13 in the money, absolute player as far as being in the exotics. Like you said, it might be a little short on the win price, but nonetheless is a player in here. On to number 2, Just Be Kind, going out for Reed Baker. You get Jaramillo aboard, 10-1 on the morning line. Last out was an upset winner at a little under 9-1 that day down at Tampa Bay Downs, and a $50,000 stakes came from off of it that day. Was a little over 4 lengths off of it, came going clear, won by a length and a quarter. Thought that was a solid effort. Buyers-wise is a little bit low as far as the tops among here. That's why I think you're getting the 10-1. What do you think with number 2?
Yeah, that's just the one thing. The buyer numbers are just a little low, but a very nice effort last time out. I think this horse fits in that kind of group. The Tampa Bay $50,000 races are a non-graded stakes race. It's really a big class test here today.
Number 3 is Moonlit Promise, going out for Josie Carroll. You get Gary Boulanger to come and reunite with this horse. 9-2 on the morning line. I liked this horse last time out in the Grade 3 Hurricane Birdie when you and Seth were down there for Pegasus World Cup Day. Curlin's approval took all the money that day. Obviously, there was the upset winner in Jordan's Henny, who we'll talk about right after this horse. But I didn't think it was a bad effort. It was off of a November layoff, so it was gone for a couple months. Got to the lead at about the top of the stretch and then kind of hung a little bit. But that was, again, first off the layoff. I think this horse is coming in more fit. Reunites with Gary Boulanger, who knows this horse through and through. I think it's a nice solid play at 9-2.
Yeah, it is a tough little 7-horse field here, and as you said, I like going back to the original rider. I didn't think Joel did a terrible job last time out, but it wasn't the same ride if you watch the replay. If you look at the Woodbine replays and that replay last time out, but definitely an interesting horse, and I like Josie Carroll as well. She does a great job up in Woodbine, and she brings her horses here, and they're very competitive.
Number 4 is Jordan's Henny, going out for Michael Tomlinson, Robbie Alvarado aboard. 6-1 on the morning line. Upset winner down in Gulfstream Park on Pegasus World Cup Day. Won the Grade 3 Hurricane Birdie, which Moonlit Promise was in, and also Rich Mommy, who we'll get to a little later on. Again, almost went off around 60-1 that day. Kind of blew up everybody's multi-race wagers. But that was a solid effort. To me, the question is that 88 Buyer stands out amongst any of the races Jordan's Henny's raced. Is the bounce theory in play? And that's really the question here.
Yeah, that is the question. And I think Tyler had a lot to do with it too, and last time out, and he's not on Jordan's Henny today, but is one of the only 2 closers in here. That was the same race dynamic last time out. Was the only closing horse on Pegasus Day. And he's one of 2 today, so I think he's going to make it interesting again late in the race because there's a lot of speed in this race.
Number 5 is Blue Collar, going out for Eddie Keneally, who's having a tremendous championship meet down at Gulfstream Park, 22% down there so far, 8 for 36. You get Julian Laperoux aboard, 10-1 on the morning line. Last time out was a little bit of a dud in a $50,000 stakes down at Tampa Bay. That was against a couple nice horses in Well Humored and Tappa Tappa Tappa. You go to the 2-back race and a 2 other than optional claimer down at Churchill Downs. Was able to come from off the pace and get up to win by a length. And I think if this horse can rebound off that last effort, second off the layoff, I think maybe a horse that could kind of fill out the tries and supers.
Yeah, I think this is one of those horses that can fill us in super fact. This closing speed with Laperoux and Keneally, as you said, it's on absolute fire. And the horse looked great at Keeneland in the slop, but I think this horse wants to be on the dirt. The horse did try on the turf. Not too great, went to the dirt and immediately saw improvement. So I think this is a nice play to complete some exotics.
The number 6 is Rich Mommy going out for Victor Barboza Jr. 17% so far down at Gulfstream Park. Rod Ortiz Jr. aboard 4-1 on the morning line. Last time out was a decent effort against Jordan Tenney, who was the upset winner in that Hurricane Birdie Grade 3 event. Finished third, beating a length and a half, was coming off of that speed that day. And there was a lot, obviously, with Jordan Tenney coming to close and win the race, and then also Rich Mommy getting up to finish third in that event. The 7 furlongs is definitely in this horse's wheelhouse. If you're looking at the horse for course angle, this horse definitely fits it. 4 wins and 10 starts at Gulfstream Park, and also 9 for 10 in the money. Definite player in this group.
Yeah, I think it's an absolute player. You look at the last 3 races, 5 wide, 6 wide, 4 wide, and that's just one thing Rod's going to have to work on with this horse. The horse won 2 races, came in third at a nice price last time out, and was completely wide. So I'm interested to see if Rod gets the lead and then kind of ducks towards the rail. Definitely a huge play here.
Number 7 is Minds and Magic going out for Victoria Oliver, and you get Jose Lezcano aboard, 3-1 on the morning line as a lukewarm second choice in here, and it's coming off of a November layoff. Last time we saw this horse was in a couple races down at Churchill Downs. The last one was a little bit of a dud, finished third, beaten 10 lengths, got a 70 buyer. If you go back to those 2- and 3-back races, both at the 7 furlong distance and a mile, finished really creditable seconds in both of them, losing by a head and a neck, getting a 92 buyer in the 2-back race, which would be tops among this field. Off the layoff is a little bit of a question, but I think this horse is a player nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a player, as you said, and the 92 buyer may never happen again for this horse, but I think if it runs the same race it did with the 82 buyer in the optional claiming race, trying a graded stakes again since those grade 1s in Kentucky, I think this horse is ready for the challenge, and you get Lezcano up and a little bit of a closing kick, which is nice.
All right, pick time here in the grade 2 inside info down at Gulfstream.
Jordan Tenney I put on top. I think it's going to be a repeat performance. It's tough not having Tyler back in the irons, but horse seems to like the track, and the 7 furlong distance closing speeds are always dangerous. Minds and Magic I put underneath. Lezcano's riding extremely well, especially when he gets these horses. I think it's going to be a little bit more forwardly pressed. And Ivy Bell with Javier and Todd off a little bit of a layoff, and really the works really do stand out, bullet after bullet after bullet.
I'm going to go in a different direction. I like Moonlit Promise. I liked the horse last time out, like I said before, and I think reunited with Gary Boulanger, who knows all about this horse, I think it's going to be sitting just off of the pace and may get the jump on the closures in here. We're going to get a nice 9-2 price. As far as the morning line goes, we'll probably get somewhere around 4-1 around post time, but nonetheless, big player, second time off the layoff. And then also the 7, Minds and Magic off the long layoff. I haven't seen the horse since November, but buyers-wise just fits in here. If this horse can regain any of that form, his race in a couple grade 1 events, I think has a class edge on a couple of these in here. I think he's a player in here as well. And then also Rich Mommy, a horse for the course, 4 wins down at Gulfstream so far in 10 starts, and 9 for 10 in the money down at Gulfstream. Loves the surface off of that third place performance, I think. He's going to need some pace to close into, but nonetheless is another play in here as well. My long shot play is Just Be Kind, the number 2, at 10-1. I think going out for Reed Baker. This horse, another one's going to be coming from off the pace, but again, if there's enough pace in here, like Sully believes, I think another horse that can close into it as well. So those are our selections in the Grade 2 event down at Gulfstream on Saturday. We'll switch and go to the West Coast, and we talked all about the West Coast last weekend. Yeah. Unbelievable racing. We talked about it on Handicappers Report a little bit between the Bolte Oro, McKenzie, questionable DQ. But we'll take a look at this weekend's upcoming race, or one of the races. There's a couple down there that are pretty nice. Look at the Grade 1 Santa Margarita, going a mile and an eighth. The field is 10 horses, and we'll start out with number 1, La Force, going out for Pat Gallagher. You get Mike Smith aboard 6-1 on the morning line. Horse that won and one other than optional claimer last time out, coming from off the pace to get up and win, going clear by 2. Got a little bit of a light buyer though, 75. Again, that kind of shows you the weak field in there. Did race in the Grade 2 Lot Canada against Mopetism and Mended, who are both in this spot and are both going to take money in here, and finished third beating a neck. It was a blanket finish. All three of them were pretty much on the wire. If the horse can revert back to that race, I think he's a player, especially with Mike Smith aboard.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a big player here, and I actually think the stretch out will help the horse going from the mile the last 3 races to the mile and an eighth. You know, it's going to be the first time this horse has ran that distance since June of last year. So very interested to see. I think the stretch out will help. You get Mike Smith back up. Obviously, you got a chance with Mike Smith in the irons.
Number 2 is Turkish Tabby, going out for Jerry Hollendorfer. You get Rajib Mirage aboard, 15-1 on the morning line. And this, to me, this is a little bit of a wild card horse in here. A horse that predominantly has been racing at Golden Gate on the synthetic surface. The last 3 have been second place performances, getting really nice buyers against a nice horse in Fast and Foxy, who's been running unbelievable at Golden Gate. The only dirt start was a second place performance in the career debut back in 2016. Do you think the horse can handle it, and do you think the horse can handle the stretch out? Those are the 2 big questions.
Yeah, I don't know. That is the one big question here. And the stretch out might be a little bit of a question mark. I don't think the surface is going to be a problem at all. We see horses go from Golden Gate to fast surfaces, and they do pretty well. That is the one question, though, is I think step up might be a little bit too much, and I think the stretch might be a little bit too much. But definitely a long shot play for Hollendorfer, and Rajiv's been riding extremely well at Santa Anita.
Number 3 is Mended, going out for John Martin. 6-1 on the morning line. This horse is speed, and speed. Where a couple of these are going to be sitting from off the pace. The 3's going to go for it, and time and time again does. Last time out was caught by Mopetism in that Grade 2 La Canada. Got a 91 buyer, was going off at 7-1 that day. I thought that was a very solid performance. To me, the mile and eighth is the biggest question mark for this horse because it hasn't gone the distance ever. It seems to get a little leg weary, but if for some reason no one decides to go with this horse, it could be roaming free down the stretch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Someone needs to go with this horse if anyone wants to catch it, because this horse is going to go. The stretch out, as you said, it's just another big question mark, and I agree. I don't think this horse can handle it. You know, it gets caught running the mile distances, so I just think the stretch out is just going to hurt this horse and set it up for one of the closers.
Number 4 is Dalaceros. Going off for Carla Gaines, you get Tyler Bass aboard, 12-1 on the morning line. Lightly raced horse, only 5 career starts, but 2 of them have been wins, notably the 2-back race and one other than optional claimer last time out. Came from off the pace, just a miss, finished a solid second place finish in that mile event. I think the stretch out shouldn't be a concern, but to me is just buyers-wise a little bit lower than the best in here.
Yeah, you know, we get one of these horses every week here. The buyers are a little low. They're stepping up from optional claiming fields to Grade 1s. One day think they can get there, but I just, you know, just right now, just a touch below. And this is a really solid field here. But I think this is a key horse here. Needs to go run with the 3. If the 4 runs with the 3, it's going to set up a race for some closers.
Number 5 is Mistress of the Night. Going out for Richard Baltus, Kent DeSomer aboard, 8-1 on the morning line. Last time out did beat the number 4, who we just talked about. In that 2 other than optional claimer that was going the mile distance. The horses kind of transitioned back from the turf, back to the dirt, back to the turf, and both of the wins of recent have come on the dirt surface, so I think that's why they're taking a chance in here. Has raced in a couple of Grade 3s, but this horse is definitely getting the acid test coming up into this Grade 1 event.
Yeah, definitely is getting the acid test, as you said. You know, just a balanced horse on paper as well, though, so I don't really know what the horse is going to do. The last 3 starts took a stalking role early on in the career, just wanted to go. Even earlier on in the career, wanted to close. So very interested to see what this horse does and how Kent places the horse.
Number 6 is Majestic Heat, going out for Richard Mandela. Corey Nakatani aboard, 6-1 on the morning line. Last time out, finished 3rd, beaten 3 lengths in a $100,000 stakes at Santa Anita. It was a solid effort enough, but if you go back to that 2-back race, that was the most interesting race to me. Unique Bella crushed him in the Grade 2 event that day. Mopetism finished second, but only a length and a quarter off was Majestic Heat. So the length and a quarter difference between the 6 and the 9, and you're getting 6-1, and we haven't talked about Motism yet, but 7-2 on the morning line for that horse. I think it could be lost in the shuffle a little bit. I think the horse is going to like the 1.125 distance. I think going farther out is definitely where this horse wants to be, and I think is a big player at 6-1.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a ginormous play here. And as you said, just a balanced horse. Went the mile and 16.3 back. Obviously, just you could put an extra. That I think it's going to be a little bit farther behind the pace here today, or on Saturday, excuse me. And we'll see how the horse does. And we've seen the horse be 5 or 6 lengths off and win a couple races. Those are graded stakes. And as you said, I think it's a very nice, interesting play at 6-1.
The number 7 is Bishop's Pond going out for Jason Service. Victor Espinoza aboard. 6-1 on the morning line. And to me, just looking at the race dynamics alone, is the biggest first turn threat to Mended. Has shown speed time and time again. Last time out was able to wire him in a mile event. And Stakes Company down at Laurel Park is going to switch to the West Coast in here, but does meet up against Mended, and these two could go as fast as they want in here and possibly duel each other into defeat.
Yeah, that's what probably is going to happen, and you might get another one in there. Another horse just right sitting behind them, and one of them usually, when you see a horse speed duel, just falls back and is not competitive at all. The other one hangs on for third or fourth. But Jason Service going out to the West Coast after running in Laurel and then in the Irish circuit. So we'll see how this horse likes the Santa Anita surface.
Number 8 is Eccentric Spinster going out for Jerry Hollendorfer. 15-1 on the morning line. You get Joel Rosario aboard. A horse model of consistency. Finished 7 of 8 times in the money as far as lifetime starts goes. The last 2 were second and third place performances, and that third place performance was the last one, only beaten ahead. Time and time again, this horse runs well, but is seriously getting a test in this Grade 1 event, stepping up immensely.
Yeah, the ginormous step up, as you said, coming in from Golden Gate. Those are just 2 ginormous question marks. Kind of the same thing as Turkish Taddy, coming in, stepping up in class, and kind of stretching out a little bit. Has ran a couple mile distances, and now it's going to stretch out to the mile and the 8th. So we'll see how the horse does. We'll see how Jerry wants Joel to ride the horse, because this horse does have a little speed to it as well.
Number 9 is Mopatism, the 7-2 lukewarm favorite in this event, going out for Doug O'Neill. Mario Gutierrez aboard. Last time out, finished second, a distant second to Unique Bella, who was stretching out off of her sprint races, and boy was she dynamite. I thought Mopatism ran the best of the rest sort of theory with Majestic Heat, a horse that I like, and we talked about a little bit earlier, finished a length and a quarter off. Thought that was a solid effort by Mopatism. Was able to win that 3-horse photo 2 back in the Grade 2 La Canada against Mended and La Force, who we talked about a little bit earlier. I think just makes sense as the favorite in here. I think a lot of people are going to try to beat the horse, though. But nonetheless, Buyers-wise, just a mile of consistency the last 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's the one thing that stands out is the Buyers and the consistent graded stakes entries for this horse. And we saw the horse at Saratoga over the summer in the Alabama, and the horse has really improved since that 7th place finish. So, again, I'm interested to see how Mario places the horse, because after the Alabama, he more forwardly placed the horse and won the La Canada, as you said. So, I think this is a serious lukewarm favorite. If you can get 7-2 on this horse, or even better, I think that's a steal. But I agree, it's a definitely beatable lukewarm favorite.
Number 10 is Fault going out for Phil D'Amato. 4-1 on the morning line. An interesting horse that's been facing graded company, but it's been on the turf. Notably, last time out was able to come from off the pace and beating a couple nice horses in Thundering Sky and Juno. Won that Grade 2 event. Transitioning from the turf to the dirt is an unknown for this horse. He's only tried the dirt once, and that was in Fairgrounds back in February of 2017. Was a men's and men's 4th place finish. Again, the unknown, but if this horse can translate at all any of that turf form to this, is a player in here.
Yeah, I think this horse is a serious player in here, and going from the turf to the dirt. The Connection's winning at a 20% clip, and the horse has been working okay on the fast surface. Had a bullet in February, excuse me. So we'll see how this horse really does. I think we'll be okay. I know the distance won't be an issue. On a closing speed, the horse really has a lot of closing speed. So we'll see how the horse does on the dirt. I think the horse will be okay.
All right, let's see if our picks match up, because they did not match up in the first one.
I didn't. Mopatism on top. I think Fault's going to run a big race as well. Doug O'Neill and Mario Gutierrez are a phenomenal team. The horses looked extremely well the last 3 starts. Lost Unique Bella, no shame in that. And then Fault, I think, will run okay underneath. But La Force, I think, is a serious play with Mike Smith aboard. Ran a huge race, 2 back against Mopatism and Mended. I think Mended gets tired, and I think Bishop's Pond gets tired as well. Long shot, I think Turkish Tabby is a nice play coming in from Golden Gate to complete some super practice. But yeah, I have Mopatism on top.
I'm going to take a slight stand against Mopatism, but I agree with you. If you do get 7-2, I think that's a solid play. Really all depends on the price you're going to get on the horse. Nonetheless, is a deserved favorite. I'm going to go with number 6, though, Majestic Heat. Richard Mandela was a length and a quarter off of Mopatism, your top choice in the 2-back race. Tried sprinting last time out. I don't think the horse is going to be too far back off that sprinting effort. You could see the horse being 4ly placed. I think is going to like the 1.125 distance, and we're going to get a very nice price and maybe overlooked in here. Underneath, Mopatism, I have in second. Just off those last solid 2 races is definitely the class of the field in here. And any performance of the last 2, they're all going to be running for second in here. And then number 1, La Force for third. Last time out was able to win that one other than Optional Claimer. I got a little bit of a light buyer, but nonetheless was a neck off of Mopatism in the 2-back race in that Grade 2 Lot Canada. So also as my long shot play, I agreed with you on Turkish Tabby. An unknown horse racing on the synthetic at Golden Gate. Only 1 start on the dirt and has been working pretty solid. So I think this horse is interesting at 15-1. So, all right, that was our look at the stakes races at Santa Anita and Gulfstream Park. When we come back, we'll take a look at the big weekend at Oaklawn.
Sign up today for Capital OTB's handicapping series and plan your trip to Las Vegas.
Take a look at one at Santa Anita and one at Gulfstream Park. We'll take a look at the enormous weekend they have down at Oaklawn, highlighted by the Rebel, which we'll touch upon a little bit later. But we'll take a look at the 8th race on Saturday. It's a $300 stakes. It's not graded, but there are some real names in here. A nice field of 11 horses. We'll start out with number 1, Blue Ridge Traveler, who we talked about a couple weeks ago in our stakes preview when this horse raced in a $100,000 stakes down at Sam Houston on Sam Houston's big night. This horse goes out for Ken McPeak, Channing Hill aboard, 20-1 on the morning line. A winner of the last 2, including the one that we just talked about, the Maxim down at Sam Houston. The horse really had horrible race dynamics and still was able to win, getting up and closing to win by a neck over a nice horse named Net Gain, getting a nice 86 buyer. And the horse has been a mile consistency, a little bit of a touch below in here, but I think this horse could fill out the supers.
Yeah, definitely I think the horse could fill out the supers. As you said, definitely is a little bit touch below, but if the horse does the same thing, as it did the last time out, I don't think it has a shot in here. It can't mess up in this field because this is a very nice field for a not graded stakes. So I think if the horse repeats as it did last time, going to be a problem to get in there. But 2-back and 3-back, I think if it repeats that, definitely a chance to get in the supers at a price.
Number 2 is Hedge Fund going out for Todd Pletcher. You got Jose Ortiz aboard, who's going to be in town on Saturday at Oaklawn Park. And this horse had raced against the best of the best back in 2017, hence Conquest Mo Money. Finished a solid second to Multiplier in the Illinois Derby. And then went to Pimlico and sort of ran a flat 4th. And we didn't see this horse for a long time. We saw this horse reappear in February of 2018. Was able to take him wire to wire in an allowance optional claimer. And thought that was a solid performance. Does step up immensely as far as quality goes because there's a lot of notable names that you and I were taking a look at in here. But nonetheless, as a player off that big effort last time out.
Yeah, and I like all the connections. I like Windstar. They had a big win last week at Tampa Bay. Fletcher, Jose, just a phenomenal team, as you said. I think off the layout, it's just more get how the horse looks, and the horse looked phenomenal with the 94 Beyer, and I think everyone agrees is ready for this race, and has ran big in some big derbies, most notably last March and April.
Number 3 is Petrov going out for Ron Moquette. 8-1 on the morning line. A horse that's raced 5 times at Oaklawn Park with 1 win, a couple seconds. Last time out was able to get that win in a 6 furlong event. Does stretch out to the mile and 16th distance, but has had some good efforts in those stretch out races, notably back in the Southwest with a nice creditable second to a nice horse in one-liner that we saw running really well back in 2017. But again, off that layoff, was able to win last time out, and then non-winners a 4 lifetime event. Does step up, but has faced some really good quality. I think is interesting at 8-1.
I think it's very interesting at 8-1. I think this horse is going to have a huge race, a huge day, a ton of speed, and did okay at Oaklawn, as you said. It was in the Arkansas Derby. Was just really overmatched that day. The Classic Empire, Conquest Mo Money, looking at Lee. But I thought ran huge in the Rebel last year against Malagasy and Untrapped, who we haven't talked about yet. It's the 4 horse. So I think this is a sneaky 8-1 horse here.
Number 4 is Untrapped, going out for Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard. 5-1 on the morning line. To me, if you just take a look at the overall body of work and you kind of dissect it, the horse is 2 for 13 lifetime as far as wins go. 4 second place performances and 3/3, and when you kind of look at that, you say, well, the horse loves to run the money but doesn't like to win. If you look at the last 2, they've been both 4th place performances, taking money in both of those efforts. And I think this horse is going to be overlooked in here, but those were both on wet surfaces. To me, this horse doesn't like wet surface, and on Saturday, it looks to be dry. You go back to the last 2 fast track races, and take a look at that Oklahoma Derby. Horse got a 95 Beyer, was able to get up and win, beat a horse named Battle of Midway, who we saw come back and beat Sharp Tech and win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I think, to me, it's all about the surface with this horse. I like to see Ricardo stay aboard. He knows this horse real well. I think he's an absolute big player in here at 5-1.
Yeah, I think it's an absolute steal here at 5-1, as you said. The Beyers are nice. They stand out. His race against IRAP, Always Dreaming, Classic Empire, Malagasy, Gervin, this horse, Conquest Mo Money, and as you said, looking at Lee. So this horse is racing against some quality horses and has run, I thought, pretty competitive in those races. The Rebel last year, I thought, ran okay in the Arkansas Derby. The Kentucky Derby did not run extremely well, but lost to IRAP in the Ohio Derby. And that was an incredible ride by IRAP, as you said. So I think going back to the fast surface, this is an absolute steal at 5-1.
Number 5 is Dazzling Gem, going out for Brad Cox, who's been unbelievable down at Oaklawn. 30% so far, 20 for 66 with his starters. Gary Stevens aboard, your 3-1 morning line favorite. And off that big race last time out in that allowance race over a muddy surface going the mile distance, does stretch out slightly, but won that race very impressively by 6 lengths. Is 3 for 6, a horse for the course theory. 3 wins in 6 starts at Oaklawn Park. And Beyers-wise, fits really well, has a 100-plus Beyer. 4 back at Oaklawn against More Spirit, where he finished 4th in that event. To me, is a deserved morning line favorite. I think maybe a couple people are going to try to beat this horse, but nonetheless, is a big player in here.
Yeah, but I agree. Very deserving, the 3-1. It's going to be a great betting race, this race, and I think this horse is beatable because, as you could see, if the horse doesn't win at Oaklawn, just really has not been competitive in those races. But the last time the horse, 4 races back to Hunter Beyer, that was a nice race, coming in 4th with 100 Beyer. So we'll see how Gary Stevens places the horse. He's had a very nice meet as well. So has Brad Cox. So I definitely a deserving 3-1 favorite, as you said.
Number 6 is Rocking the Boat, going out for Kelly Gorder. 20-1 on the morning line. And this horse has just been a model of consistency again. 6 for 7 in the money lifetime, including last time out when the horse lost to Hawakam in the Grade 3 Razorback. Again, that was a mile and 16, so the horse has already been able to go the distance, but showed speed that day. Faded only to finish 3rd, though. I thought that was a pretty good 3rd, outriding the 33-1 odds. But nonetheless, is facing some really good quality again. Is going to see a fast pace from a couple others in here, including Hedge Fund and Dalmore, who we haven't talked about yet, who ran enormous on the comeback at Santa Anita. I think race dynamics wise is just up against the number 6 Rocking the Boat.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's other speed in this race that that is going to hold this horse back. As you said, the first time stretching out to the mile and the 16th did okay, but it was sloppy out, and it's tough for horses to run their normal running style when it's sloppy out. I just think it's a little touch below here, even though ran huge last time out.
Number 7 is Leo Frick going out for Brad Cox, another Brad Cox trainee in here. Again, we already talked about how unbelievable he's been doing down there. You get Luis Saez aboard with this horse, who was on last time out, 4-1 on the morning line. Again, last time out, Luis was aboard in that Grade 3 Razorback, finished second to Hawakam in that event. Hawakam kind of rode the rail, and race dynamics-wise, to me, it was just rode the inside bias that day, and I think that's why Hawakam won. Solid performance enough, but what stands out is the horse for course angle. The horse was run 5 times here at Oaklawn Park, 4 wins, and the other one was a second place performance. So this horse absolutely loves Oaklawn Park. Off those recent 2 efforts, I think is probably going to go off as your favorite in here.
Yeah, I think we'll go off as a favorite. And, looking at this, usually when we do the stakes preview, we do a little handicap before, and now I'm looking at it again. I can't believe I'm leaving this horse off of the ticket here. And this horse, as you said, is a horse for the course, and very nice closing effort from this horse that we saw 2 races back and in the slop. So I'm interested to see where Louis places the horse. And as you said, I think might take the favoritism away from Dazzling Gem.
But to give you credit, I mean, when you look at this field, you could make a case for, I want to say, 9 of 11 horses in here. I mean, either there's recency or there's class edge, and it's kind of clashing in here. And with the 7, the horse is light on class, but the recency has been so good. I think that people who follow the Oaklawn circuit are going to say the horse for the course angle in here, and that's why I think is going to be the favorite in here. Nonetheless, is another play in here amongst many. But we'll move on to number 8, Dalmore. Going out for Robert Haas. Paco Lopez is going to be aboard for this event and has yet to race this horse, so it's going to be interesting. This horse has a ton of back class and really just didn't do much running in the summer, so they gave the horse a little bit of a freshening. That was Keith DeSormo. And then they sent this horse back to Santa Anita, raced in that optional claimer back in early February, and raced a hole in the wind. Got a 96 buyer, completely destroyed Cat Burglar and Hot Sean, was eased going down the stretch. Really solid time on the comeback, was an unbelievable performance. Is going to go for the lead again. I think they're going to keep the same race dynamics. You get an aggressive rider in Paco Lopez, who's going to be aboard first time. Intriguing at 12-1 at least.
Yeah, it is intriguing, 12-1, and we say it every time we see Paco Lopez on a speed horse. He knows how to control a speed horse. He knows when to let him go. So very interesting, as you said. But as taking that layoff, coming back at 5-1, and just absolutely destroying the field at Santa Anita, I think is absolutely ready for this graded stakes. So we'll see how Paco does with the horse. He's got to get to the lead before their mid-stretch start with the starting gate. So he's got to get to the lead and try to cut a few corners if he can.
Number 9 is Thirst for Life, going out for Wesley Hawkey, who's 1 for 2 so far at Oaklawn Park. You get Corey Lannery aboard. 12-1 on the morning line. And 3 and 4 back were solid victories against weaker. 2 back was able to finish second to Leo Frick, who we talked about as possibly being the favorite in this race, only beating a neck that day. And then last out, finished second in a Grade 3 event at Fairgrounds to a very nice horse in the Player. This horse is light on class, but as far as like we talked about, it's recency versus class. This horse has a lot of recency and very good form, but is facing a class test.
Yeah, that's the one question. It's the class test. They keep raising the horse up in class, and from the 86 went to a 93 and repeated that 93 in a Grade 3 event. So now goes to a 9-graded stakes event, and pretty much this, you can make a case this is a graded stakes field. So we'll see how Corey Lannery does with this horse. He's done okay when he's been there. He's only had 6 mounts there. He's usually not in at Oaklawn. He's done okay. He's been competitive in those 6 mounts. So we'll see what the game plan is here. Let's see if the horse wants to take a stalking role or go to the lead.
Number 10 is Far Right, going off for Wayne Catalano. 30-1 on the morning line, and this horse is just a touch below the rest of these in here, but does like to run at Oaklawn Park, including 6 times in the money in 8 career starts. And lifetime-wise, 24 starts, has run in the money 15 times. So if you're a super person, I think this horse at 30-1 could possibly, if a couple of these regress or bounce off of their last efforts, possibly fills out the supers.
Yeah, I think you could definitely make a case that this horse fills out the supers. Likes the course, does okay on the fast surface, does okay at the distance, and as you said, runs in the money the majority of its starts at a nice price as well. So if you're a super player, definitely take a look at Far Right.
Number 11 is Multiplier going off for Peter Miller. You get Johnny V aboard, who will be also in town at Oaklawn on Saturday. 12-1 on the morning line. And this is another horse, just like Dalmore and a couple others in here, including Hedge Fund as well, the same sort of overall body of work. Was racing against really good horses back in 2017, including Multiplier and including Hedge Fund and Cloud Computing and Taprit. And really did no running in the last event in the Grade 1 Belmont, and then wasn't seen for a long time. Re-showed up in March of this year, earlier on, and finished a creditable third, closing from off the pace. Got a 94 buyer at Santa Anita, and now they jumped this horse up into this really nice $300,000 stakes. You get Johnny V aboard, connecting with Peter Miller, which is quite interesting. 12-1 is appealing, and the horse has been working really well at Del Mar. Intriguing.
Definitely intriguing. Horse has been working absolutely, really does stand out from Del Mar, and dropping a couple pounds as well. I think that's going to help from the 122 to the 114, and you get Johnny V up. He's going to do exactly what you want him to do. Peter Miller knows that. He's had a nice meet as well, winning 14% of his mounts. Definitely an intriguing horse from the outside stall.
And raced at 6.5 furlongs, so on the stretch out to the mile and 16th, you really have to consider that race more of a prep than anything for this type of event. So could be primed and ready to go at 12-1. So pick time here in probably one of the deepest races I've seen in a while.
Geez.
You go a lot of different angles. I don't know how you went.
I put Petrov on top, and I'm taking a shot here at 8-1. I don't think we'll stay at 8-1. Stepping up, back up to this $300,000 level. Looked okay in the Grade 3. Looked okay in an allowance race, and seems to be adapting okay to the Oaklawn surface. The first time the horse was out on the Oaklawn surface, ran second, and then improved to that. Last time he was here I know it was in a slop 1. Can't really improve from 1, so let's see if the same trend continues for Petrov. And then I put 5 in the mix. Dazzling Gem. I think Gary Stevens, the way he's riding right now, is just a different level. Brad Cox, he's on absolute fire. So we'll see if the 5 or the 7, if I pick the right Brad Cox horse as well. And then I put Far Right as my long shot. I think just the consistency this horse runs as a long shot to complete some superfectas, that's my long shot as Far Right.
All right, I have Untrapped on top. I went 4, 5, and 7 in here, and I like Untrapped. I think the recipe for this horse is a fast track. You're going to get it on Saturday. The horse has been facing good quality, a couple Grade 1 events that this horse has raced in and has raced solid. I know the horse is 2 for 13 lifetime, but Ricardo Santana stays aboard. Steve Asmussen absolutely knows what he's doing, and I think on the revert back to a fast track. And if this horse can kind of get back to that Oklahoma Derby form where the horse beat Battle of Midway, I think you're going to get a really nice price at the 5-1 morning line. Underneath, Dazzling Gem, which you talked about as well, a horse for the course, and also Leofric, another horse for the course. Time and time again, both those horses putting in very good efforts. They're going to be short prices in here, and there's a lot of different angles you could go, but I think those two are nice, solid plays using the exotics. And then I was teeter-tottering on my long shot play being between Blue Ridge Traveler off that recent race at Sam Houston or Multiplier. And ultimately, I went with Blue Ridge Traveler as the longer price at 20-1, but I also like Multiplier. I think it's an interesting dynamic getting Johnny V and Peter Miller aboard. I think on the stretch up from 6.5 to see this horse appear down at Oaklawn, I think he has him primed and ready to go. So a lot of different ways you could go in this $300,000 event, race number 8 on Saturday at Oaklawn. All right, we will transition to race number 9 on the card. It's the Grade 2 Azeri, $350,000 purse for fillies and mares. And this is another solid field. We'll start out with number 1, Actress, going out for Jason Service. Jose Ortiz is going to be aboard, 3-1 on the morning line. Last time out, finished second down at Sam Houston in that Grade 3 event. Closed from off the pace. Just got caught by Tiger Moth, who we'll talk about in the number 4 horse in here. Thought that was a very good performance. Was kind of weaving in and out down the stretch, and Tiger Moth kind of took a straighter path, and that's why the horse ended up losing by a neck. I'm not sure if the horse was getting leg weary or if the horse just really wasn't able to switch leads and kind of going out and shifting back in. So we'll see. But second off the layoff, I think this horse is going to be primed and ready to go. And 3-1, I think is a very fair price.
Yeah, I think it's a fair price too, and this horse will definitely be ready to go. Jose's down there for the day, so why not take the ride on Actress as well? Making the first start at Oaklawn, I think, won't be a problem. Looked really impressive at Sam Houston. Lost by neck, won by 8-3 back. It's everything you said. I think Actress will be ready to go. And very, very generous price for a closing kick horse at 3-1.
Number 2 is Farrell going out for Wayne Catalano. 8-1 on the morning line. Shannon Hill aboard has been aboard for every start of this horse's career. Last time out was a complete dud here at Oaklawn Park. That was over a sloppy surface, though. It was odds on that day. Pretty much eased down the stretch. And to me, I just didn't like the muddy surface at all. Didn't break well. This horse always goes to the lead. And I think Channing just said save it for another day. Reappears. 8-1 to me is a huge overlay. This horse, time and time again, when it goes to the lead, look at the 2-back race, 3-back race, and 7 of 12 career starts, has gone to the lead and wired them. Horse that's 5 for 6 at the distance, has been working out tremendously down at Oaklawn Park off that bounced effort last time out. I love the price, and I think the horse is going to be on the lead and giving him fits down the stretch.
Yeah, that's the one thing that stands out is the distance, 5 for 6, and as you said, just a nice bullet workout at Oaklawn, a 2 out of 25 as well. So this horse has been working extremely well. Obviously didn't like the slop, so we'll see how if they do the same race tactic as they did 2-back, just go to the lead and play catch me if you can, which I think might be a little hard to do with other speed to the outside of this horse. So we'll see what Channing does. If the horse gets to the lead, or he's got to play a little stalking role.
Yeah, the major player in here to go with Fair will be number 3, Terra Promesa. Going out for Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard, another 8-1 morning line horse. And the horse loves Oaklawn Park. 7 for 9 in the money over the Oaklawn dirt course. 5 wins, including 2 seconds, and loves the distance as well. Is going to show some speed, is coming off that second place performance in that Grade 3 Viacoa Stakes, losing to Streamline, who we'll talk about a little bit later on. I don't think you're going to get 8-1. This horse has never gone off at higher than 3-1 in the last 10 starts, so I think the morning line has a little bit of an overlay as well. Again, race dynamics-wise, it's going to be interesting to see if this horse lays off of Farrell or decides to get into a little bit of speed duel. I think for both their sakes, one's going to have to go and one's going to have to come from off the pace. And I think Farrell's going to be the one to end up going, and Terra Promesa is going to sit about second and try to stalk that horse.
Yeah, I could see that happening as well, because if they both go and kill each other, they're both going to get out of the race, which everyone's aware of. But I think Ricardo can handle a nice stalking role. This horse has done that in the past, and excuse me, last time out the horse didn't. Raced a nice second place, and is running the money 8 times in 11 starts here at the distance. I like Stone Street. I like Asmussen. He's on fire down there too as well. Big races, Asmussen's doing extremely well, winning 16%. So we'll see if who gets the lead. That's going to be very interesting to see.
Number 4 is Tiger Moth going off for Brad Cox. Florent Giroux aboard, who was aboard last time out in that Grade 3 win, beating Actress and Martini Glass, who we'll touch upon a little bit later on. Went real wide that day down the lane, about 5 wide, was able to angle out and catch Actress that day. I thought that was a real solid performance, was actually going away. Was an upset winner that day at 17-1. Now is taking a little bit more money as the 5-1 morning line price shows. I'm not sure if this horse can validate that 93. That was a career best performance. To me, I have a little questions about if the horse can run back again with a huge effort.
Yeah, I don't think the horse is going to run that 93 buyer again, but I think with the closing speed in Florent Giroux and Brad Cox, we said it last race, he's on a different level right now. I think it's interesting underneath for supers and trifectas. Definitely a nice price of 5-1. You're not going to get the 17-1 again, but I think you'll get around 5, 6, 7-1, 8-1. So we'll see how the betting public sees it. But a nice closing horse with Florent aboard.
Number 5 is Sandy Surprise, going out for Doug O'Neill, who's 8 for 36 so far down at Oaklawn. So nice to see Doug O'Neill transferring his West Coast horses to Oaklawn Park, and they're running well. Fabian Pratt's going to be aboard with this one, and 12-1 on the morning line. I don't think you're going to get that price where we think a couple of these are going to shoot up. I think Sandy Surprise is going to shoot down as far as prices go. And last time out, finished fourth, only beating a length and a half to Tiger Moth, Actress, and Martini Glass, who are all in this race. Thought that was a solid enough race. The horse has been working unbelievable at Oaklawn Park. The last couple works, including the last one on March 10th, 59-2 for the 5 furlongs. A bullet first of 27, I think, is a very interesting play if you get anywhere around that morning line price.
Yeah, if you get anywhere around that morning line price, you're gonna feel pretty good about it. 12-1, Windstar bred horse. They say it every week. Love betting their horses. They always are phenomenal. And I agree. I like how Doug O'Neill's coming to Oaklawn with his West Coast style, and he's doing extremely well. And I like Flavian aboard. But the one thing I would like to see Flavian do that the horse did not do two back with Raphael and Mario has struggled with it. I would like to see the horse a little bit more forwardly pressed. I know it's a length and a half off, but you're in sixth by a length and a half. If you're fourth or third by a length and a half, you're in a great spot, and you have Flavian Prado at 12-1. Hopefully, it stays there.
Number 6 is Streamline, 6-1 on the morning line. Gary Stevens aboard. Last time out was able to close into a very fast pace over that sloppy surface. Win the Grade 3 Bayakoa at a little more than 3-1 that day. To me, the horse has just been a model of consistency. 12 for 12 in the money at the distance, 10 for 10 at Oaklawn in the money, including 3 wins, and 20 for 21 in the 21 lifetime starts in the money. So 20 for 21. Whether you think the horse can win or not at 6-1, I could see why other people would look other ways, but nonetheless, you have to use this horse in the mix because of all 3 stats that I just showed.
Yeah, you have to use this horse in the mix, and if you don't, you're going to be kicking yourself because this horse is going to be a nice price as well. This is a great betting race with Gary Stevens up. And this horse usually makes its move late in the stretch. It usually runs in the money late in the stretch. And we saw that last time out. It was 5th by 3 1/4. Did not get up to win until late in that race. So it's going to be interesting to see. You might get a little antsy, but the horse will be there.
Number 7 is Martini Glass, going out for Keith Nations. And we talked about this horse a little earlier because the horse did face Actress and Tiger Moth 2 back down at Sam Houston. Closed to finish 3rd, beating a length and a quarter. A very tight finish with a lot of these horses near. Got a 91 buyer, and then only flattered those 2 horses that beat Martini Glass, Tiger Moth and Actress, when this horse went down to the Grade 3 Royal Delta at Gulfstream Park and got up to win that event, beating a couple nice horses on Lewis Bay and Verve's Tail. So I think the recency is very good. Paco Lopez, I think, is going to stay close to the pace, and I think this horse is in razor sharp form right now.
Yeah, the horse is in razor sharp form, as you said, and the workouts, they really do stand out since that 19th race. There's one on the 3rd and there's one on the 9th, and one's a bullet and one's a 2 out of 31. So the one thing that is a little concerning is there's a lot of horses that want to sit a length and a half off. I don't know if the horse is going to be able to do that like it did the last 2 starts, but Paco is an aggressive rider with some speed, so we'll see what he does.
Number 8 is Blue Prize. 7-2 on the morning line, James Graham aboard. Would be the morning line favorite if this horse wasn't coming off of a layoff. Last time out, raced back in November of 2017 in a Grade 2 event and completely clobbered Tiger Moth. And we saw Tiger Moth come back and beat a couple in here. So off that most recent effort, I know it's off of a layoff, that horse did beat Tiger Moth going away by 8.5. Very impressive. Got a 96 buyer. Does have a couple other graded stakes performances where the horse finished creditable seconds and thirds to very nice horses, and Verve's Tail and Romantic Vision. I think off the layoff is certainly the question mark with this horse, but if this horse can come back to any sort of form that this horse had back in 2017, it will be a huge handful in here.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Can the horse come back to what we have seen earlier on of last fall and last summer? It looked okay up at Saratoga as well. Lost the Verve's Tail there. Comes back and does the same thing. Comes in second place to Romantic Vision. I think this horse will. I think the horse appreciates this distance. The 2 times in the money in the 2 starts, both second places, does appreciate this distance. So we'll see how this horse is played as well. I think this horse wants to close a little bit more than it does want to stalk. But last time out was just the best horse in that race. Came back and won by 8.5. So that's why I think it was more forwardly placed.
All right, pick time here in the Grade 2 is there.
Actress on top. I think this horse is going to be overlooked on the rail with Jose. I think you're going to get a better price than 4-1, and I like Gary and Marion West. So we'll see how the horse likes the Oaklawn surface coming in from Sam Houston. Looked pretty good last time out with Jose Ortiz. And then I put Streamline and Gary Stevens in the mix. The number 6 horse, just a horse you got to play underneath. It's 6-1. The stats is 12 for 12 at the distance, 10 for 10 at Oaklawn. You got to play underneath, and then Tiger Moth I put underneath as well. I think Farrell's going to run a ginormous race, and Teresa Promessa. I'm interested to see who gets to the lead. I think who gets to the lead hangs on, possibly to win or to run in the exotic.
Yeah, I do like Farrell in this spot. I think just like the horse I talked about before. In the last race, I like Farrell for the reasons of the horse doesn't like to slop. Last time out, completely threw out that Grade 3 event. The horse was odds on that day against a couple in here. Now you're getting the 8-1 morning line price. I don't think the horse has lost any form. I just think didn't like the surface. The horse has 5 wins and 7 lifetime starts over a dirt fast track. I think it's going to go to the lead, and this horse hangs on time and time again. When this horse is able to go out there and get a lead, can set a strong pace and still hang on, has been working very well on the comeback off that dud performance, and I think you're going to get a very nice price with Farrell. Underneath, the 8 Blue Prize, who's 10 for 10 in the money, coming off of a layoff, would be the favorite in here if it wasn't for that layoff last time out. Was able to win by 8.5 over Tiger Moth, and Tiger Moth, like I said, came back to beat a couple in here. So I think if we see any part of Blue Prize around 80-85%, this horse is definitely going to be in the mix. And then number 6, as we said, a horse that's just been unbelievable as far as being in the money. 12 for 12 at the distance, 10 times at Oaklawn Park, and 20 for 21 in the money. And Streamline's a must-use in exotic plays. And then the 5 is my long shot, Sandy Surprise, horse that's shipping from the West Coast. The last time out, finished 4th to 3 of these in here, but it was only a length and a half off. Has been working unbelievable at Oaklawn. If you're looking for a long shot play, I think the number 5 with Flavian Pro aboard, 12-1 on the morning line. All right, that's going to lead us to our second break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the big one at Oaklawn. It's the Grade 2 Rebel. All right. Ready?
Yeah. What are we at? 51.
Yeah, we'll be good. We'll be done in 10 minutes. Welcome back to the Capital OTB Stakes Preview. Mike Callahan alongside me, Sully Crotty. We are through 4 of the 5.
Want more rewards? How about this? During the month of February, all Capital Bets account holders earn an additional 2% cash back when wagering on Aqueduct or Gulfstream Park. Capital Bets account holders already earn the best cash rewards in New York State, but now's your chance to get back even more. No points, no gift cards, actual cash from Capital OTB. Now that's more rewards.
OTB Stakes Preview. Mike Callahan alongside me, Sully Crotty. We are through 4 of the 5 races so far. We'll take a look at the big one at Oaklawn, and pretty much the big one this weekend in the Grade 2 Rebel, mile and 16th event. It's going to be interesting at 11-horse field. We'll start numerical order with number 1, Title Ready, going out for Steve Asmussen. Jose Ortiz is going to be aboard 8-1 on the morning line. Last time out, won a 1 other than allowance race. Just off of the pace to win, going clear by 3.5, beating a couple decent horses in there at Oaklawn Park. Got an 89 buyer, to me, facing a stiff class test, facing the likes of Salamini, Sporting Chance, and Combatant in here of note. To me, off that last performance, it was solid enough, just race dynamics-wise. If this horse tries to go to the lead, I think may get dueled into defeat.
Yeah, definitely will get dueled into defeat. Looked great last time out. I think it's just a touch below. Going from an allowance race up to a $900,000 Grade 2 event, that's a lot to ask for. Asmussen does do that a lot, and he has been successful, but other times the horse has not been as successful. So I just think it's a touch below the rest of this group.
Number 2 is Curlin's Honor. Going off for Mark Cassidy, Florent Giroux aboard 12-1 on the morning line. This horse was bought back in May of 2017 for $1.5 million. So obviously out of Curlin, this horse was well regarded, and 2 for 2 lifetime, both of those events being 6 furlong events. Was able to get up and win both of them from off the pace, winning both of them by a neck. So to me, there's a couple of these in here that are coming in that are 2 for 2. To me, I like the gutsy performances. Sometimes those horses that win by 9 or 10 lengths, they kind of just go out to the lead, freewheel it, and then really have to face no adversity at all. This horse has faced adversity in both career starts, is coming second off the layoff off of that one of the optional claimer last time at Fairgrounds in the slop. I think the sky's the limit for this horse. I think you're going to get a very good price. I'm not sure if he's the tops among Salamini and Sporting Chance and the rest of them in here, but nonetheless, I think he's going to put in a big effort on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's a ginormous play here from Mark Casse, Florent Giroux, as everything you said. But I'm going to go to the lead. The $1.5 million, let's put it to use right now. Let's see if this horse can run in the graded stakes after winning it by a neck twice. Horse has been working okay. That Keeneland, breaking the maiden at Keeneland, that was a nice race. And that was a very competitive maiden special weight. So I think it's an absolute player here.
Number 3 is Salamini, probably the most intriguing 3-year-old debut because we've seen so many of the 2-year-olds that we knew, including Bolteoro and Good Magic. We've all seen them come back and run. Mackenzie of note. Salamini was the one horse we haven't seen race the 3-year-old debut yet. And this horse is 3-2 on the morning line. Flavien Prat's aboard. Bob Baffert horse. Big $270,000 purchase out of Curlin. And the horse has just been solid last time out. Finished first, but was DQ'd. Mackenzie was put up, but we didn't know at that point what Mackenzie was. Obviously, last weekend we saw the big fight between him and Bolteoro. We've seen In Still Regard go down to Fairgrounds and win. So Salamini's only been flattered by these performances. Did finish second in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile to Good Magic. Also finished second to Bolteoro. This horse is a deserved 3-2 favorite. Has been working lights out at Santa Anita. Transfers down for the 3-year-old debut. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely going to be a tough to beat here, as you said. Just because look at the horses raced against and got DQ'd, beating McKenzie, another one of the skulls in California, which I think they got wrong, but huge at Del Mar, ran huge the first graded stakes after winning a stakes race. Salamini here, it's going to be tough to beat this horse.
Number 4 is Magnum Moon, going out for Todd Pletcher. 7-2 on the morning line. Luis Saez is going to be aboard. Big $380,000 purchase back in 2016. Another horse like the number 2 Curlin's Honor, who's 2 for 2 lifetime. The horse broke the maiden first time out down at Gulfstream Park, getting a 95 buyer. Excellent first time out, beating a nice horse in Machismo. Then stretched out from that 6 furlongs, went the mile and 40-yard distance, and an allowance optional claimer. Came from off the pace to win going clear by 2. Beat a couple decent horses in here, and now gets the real class test against some of the big boys in this division. What do you think with the number 4, Magnum Moon?
Yeah, just a horse that I don't think you can play on top just because of the price, and now stepping up, coming in from Tampa Bay. But I think definitely is a play here, especially with Luis Saez, an aggressive rider, Todd Pletcher as well. Really balanced horse, can get to the lead, and has been working extremely well at Palm Beach Downs.
Number 5 is Higher Power, going out for Donnie Van Hamel, and 20-1 on the morning line. A horse that's 2 for 3 lifetime, coming off of 2 back-to-back wins, both of them being a length in each of those events. Last time out, raced in that allowance race, was able to come from off the pace, getting a 79 buyer, got up to win by 3/4 of a length. To me, is touched below, obviously, if you look at the buyers, needs to improve immensely, stepping up into a big class test, but does have the recency of running over this course, and sometimes these hometown horses end up outrunning their odds in here.
Yeah, they do, and then we'll see if this horse can do it. I don't think it's a horse that has that much of a chance to win this race just because Salamini's in this, and I think Magnum Moon's ready for the jump up. Curlin's Honor, I think, is ready for the jump up as well. I just think the hometown horse might be just a little bit underneath. I don't think it's ready for the Rebel, but I think it's ready for stakes down the line.
Number 6 is Pryor, going out for Ron Moquette, 30-1 on the morning line. Horse that's been running at Oaklawn Park the last 2, notably the last one breaking the mating first for the 4th career start. Was able to go wire to wire, winning by 5 3/4. That was on a muddy surface. Does stretch out from the mile to the mile and 16th. Just needs a lot to go right in here. I think he's going to try to go to the lead, but so are a couple others in here, and just maybe done at about the half-mile pole.
Yeah, this horse is going to need a lot to go right. It's going to have a fast track. The horse has not done extremely well on the fast track. Looked good in the slop, but I agree. I think it just needs a lot to go right here.
Number 7 is Sporting Chance, going out for D. Wayne Lucas. Johnny V is going to be aboard at 5-1 on the morning line. Last time out, finished 3rd here at Oaklawn Park in the Grade 3 Southwest. That was against My Boy Jack, who we saw ride the rail. Again, the rail was good that day. Had the perfect trip. Was a fast pace for the half mile, and that was a good performance. Combatant, who we talk about a little bit later on, and I know Seth likes. We've talked about it a couple times on RAA. I Thought that was a solid performance off of the layoff. We hadn't seen that horse. Sporting Chance said September. Again, second off the layoff. This horse should be much more fit. And you see it in the workout patterns. I think D-Way Lucas is doing a very nice job. He had the horse work a mile on March 5th and then really blew him out last time on March 12th, going 4 furlongs and 47 flat. I like the workout pattern coming into it. I like Johnny V coming aboard. I think is going to be a player in here to try to take down Salamini.
Yeah, just an absolute play here at 5-1. As you said, I like the workouts. Bullets are standing out. The mile was standing out as well. No one else is doing those types of things. So we'll see. I'm really excited to see how the horse does. The My Boy Jack, I'm going to let that go. That was, as you said, going up the rail is the best thing to do, that day. And it was a sloppy track. So horse first time stretching out on a fast track. Let's see how Johnny V handles it.
Number 8 is High North going out for Brad Cox. Gary Stevens aboard. 12-1 on the morning line. Broke the maiden, 3 back. Raced in grade 2 events the last 2. The 2-back one was pretty good now that we've seen what these horses have become. Enticed won that race in the Kentucky Jockey Club event, and then also Promises Fulfilled came back to win down at Gulfstream Park. This horse, High North, finished 4th behind those 2 horses. I think off that most recent effort at Fairgrounds in the grade 2 Risen Star. I didn't think it was that bad a performance. 5th. Beaten 5 3/4, kind of plodded along. Got an 85 buyer, I think, second off that layoff. Possibility in here.
Definitely a possibility. I've been saying every time Gary gets a mount, him and Brad Cox they're on fire down there. But I just seen what we saw last time out at the Fairgrounds. You're able to put an X through that, and it was closing extremely well. 2 races back. So I think it's definitely interesting at 12-1. I think just there's some other better choices in here, but I think this horse is going to make a late run and make it interesting, like it did 2 races back.
Number 9 is Zing Zang going out for Steve Asmussen. 20-1 on the morning line. Broke the maiden, 3 back. Solid effort coming from way off of it at Fairgrounds to get up and go clear by 2.5. Raced in the last 2 in grade 3 events, notably the last one here at Oaklawn in the grade 3 Southwest. Couldn't close that day, finished 5th, being 8.5. And to me, My Boy Jack was a stone cold closer. We saw the horse able to close, and Zing Zang wasn't able to, and the fractions were quick. Kind of leaves me with some concerns about number 9 is Zing Zang.
Yeah, the concerns is that, you touched upon it. I was going to say the same thing. The fractions were quick. You couldn't close into it. I know it was sloppy, but the time before, you couldn't close into that race either with some quick fractions. Made up half the lengths 2 back from 14 to 7, but if you're a closer, you got to be able to make those up, and I agree. I just think cannot get there. Definitely a horse that can run in some high optional claimers. Definitely a horse that can be very competitive in some non-graded stakes.
Number 10 is Combatant going out for Steve Asmussen. Ricardo Santana Jr. 8-1, and I know Seth's going to be very intrigued to see how this horse does. 3 seconds in the last 3 races, including the last one being to My Boy Jack. Finishing second, had to go wide that day. My Boy Jack rode the rail, as we talked about, and really was able to just go clear riding the track bias that day. I think this horse is steadily improving, and again, this is what you want on the road to the Derby. You don't want a horse peaking too soon. We'll see what Combatant can do. Another outside post is going to be coming from off the pace. If you can work out a trip, absolute player.
Yeah, I think the horse needs to work out a trip as well. I think the buyer figures are going to be better than we saw last time out, returning to a fast surface. I don't think the distance is going to be an issue at all. I'm excited to see how this horse does because, I know Seth, as you said, really, really likes this horse and thinks it's a big player and keeps improving, so we'll see.
Number 11 is Bodie's Maker. 50-1 on the morning line, a horse that finished second last time in one other than allowance optional claimer here at Oaklawn Park, but to me, it just bad post. Really tough to see this horse in any way filling out the supers at all. I think everything needs to go right for this horse to even just to hit the board.
Yeah, everything's got to go right, and the horse stretching out as well. It's going to run at this distance for the first time since February, so it's going to run 3 races in about a month and a half, or 4 races in a month and a half. So we'll see how this horse does. I think just asking a lot out of this horse.
All right, pick time here in the big one.
Salamini on top. I think this is going to be tough to beat Salamini. Just what we've seen and what this horse has raced against. I have Salamini on top. Combatant, I have in the mix as well. I'm very impressed that, like you said, this horse keeps improving and improving and improving. and has raced against some quality horses and some quality races. And then number 4 is Magnum Moon. I have in the mix as well. Long shot is Curlin's Honor.
Yeah, I have Salamini. It's his time to really stamp himself as a major player. I know he was really good as a 2-year-old. A lot of the horses he's faced have gone on and stamped themselves as contender. It's his time now to shine. We'll see if he can do that on Saturday. Underneath for exacta plays, I think Sporting Chance is a major player in here. Really good workout pattern for Dwayne Lucas. Last time out, third place performance. That now is going to be second off the layoff. You get Johnny V aboard. I think that's a big exacta play. Combatant, I have in the third spot. Could easily be a second place horse in here. 3 seconds the last 3 times, and I thought is a horse that's kind of steadily improving and a major player in here. And then Curlin's Honor is my horse as well that I think is going to be the long shot in here that could definitely do some damage. A gutsy winner in both career starts. Stretching out from 6th to a mile and 16th is a little bit of a question, but out of Curlin in a $1.5 million purchase, I think the best days are yet to come for Curlin's Honor. May not be on Saturday, but again, on this maybe second time on the stretch out, I think maybe a big player in here as well. So that's our look at Saturday's card. Our cards all over the place. We took a look at 3 of them at Oaklawn, 1 at Santa Anita, and 1 down at Gulfstream. Again, thanks for tuning in. Good luck on Saturday. Hopefully it gave you some things to ponder and